Do you know, every single minute, 1 million plastic bottles are bought around the world. In the time it takes to scroll through the videos, thousands of them will end up in landfills, ocean, and the street. But what if I told you one man, just one man, picked up over more than 1 million kg of waste with his own hand? And no, he wasn't backed by billion-dollar government, just a backpack, a gloves, and a mission to clean the planet. He started with his own streets. Today, we dive deep with the man who literally cleaning up the world, Vivek Gaurav, from slums in India to being honored by the UK Prime Minister. This isn't just about trash, it's about transformation. So let's start. Hello Vivek, how are you?
Hi, Yogesh. I'm good. Happy to be here.
Welcome to the Yogii Show. Vivek, would you please introduce yourself to my viewers?
Definitely. Hi, everyone. This is Vivek, and I'm a plogger. But I am a techie who picks up later. So if you want to know what's plogging, it's coming up next.
Perfect. So Vivek, this word blogging, it's new for so many people and even new for me. But I was scrolling on Instagram and I was very impressed from your work. So would you please tell me what is blogging?
Definitely. Plogging is a movement. It started in Sweden in the year 2016 by Eric.
Okay.
And what plogging means is it's a combination of jogging and picking up litter at the same time. So it's a multitasking activity where you focus on your personal health because you're jogging, but at the same time you're saving the environment while you're picking up litter. So it's just this combination of jogging and making.
Jogging and just picking, so it's called blogging, right?
Yes.
So I feel like I'm very impressed from what you're doing. And Vic, I feel like this thing is just not good for your health. Like you're doing jogging, plus you're doing a good job for the environment as well.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. You're helping environment as well. So Vic, when you started this thing, what was people reaction? What people were like? Were they criticizing you, or you felt some support from the people?
Yeah, there have been mixed reactions all this while, but plogging is something that came in later in my life in the year 2019. But litter picking has been something that I've been doing from 11 years now.
Oh.
So back in 2013, the first time I picked up a piece of litter, the reactions were really different. I was myself awkward because I was picking up trash.
Exactly, yeah.
But what people said was also very annoying because few people called me kachra wala.
Okay.
That's where this journey began, where someone called me kachra wala. But I was a well-paid software developer back in Pune.
Oh, wow.
And I was doing this. So being called a kachra wala was an honor for myself.
Okay.
But you see what's the mindset of people when they call someone kachra wala. That's
In India, I think they see in very low job kind of things, and
Yeah.
mindset of Indian community towards this thing is not good.
Not just India, I guess. The more I travel, I end up realizing that litter picking in itself is not a dignified act. People don't really respect this part of a profession. But definitely, it's India where it's really conservative in terms of what we think about litter picking.
True. Vivek, like let's forget about the people.
Yeah.
People, it says कि लोगों का काम है कहना, लोग तो कहते ही रहेंगे.
Yeah.
But what about your family? Did your family supported you, or they were like, no, what are you doing? It's shameful, or those?
Initial few times I picked up litter, I had to hide it from my family because I was scared about their reactions. I didn't want my parents to be really angry at me because I was totally dependent on them for all my things. And
Yeah, the expenses.
definitely, and if they find out their son who is supposed to study and focus on academics, he's just picking up litter and cleaning the city.
Yeah.
But when I told them, they were really angry as expected because that's a normal reaction. No one wants their child to go and pick up someone else's rubbish. My dad felt it was filthy to do something like this. He opposed it and he still opposes it.
Okay.
But the intensity of his anger and his opposition has reduced over time.
Yeah. So do you think they're gonna stop accepting this thing?
I think they've accepted the fact that I'm not going to listen because
Okay.
they cannot change the way I think and see this world. But definitely they are making peace with the fact that I love doing what I do.
Okay.
And yeah, they are happy that I enjoy this.
That's very cool. Vivek, There's thousands of people. There's millions of people all around the globe. No one is very happy to do this. There's very I would say less percentage of people they want to do it. But what motivated you toward this thing?
I guess my school life has been something that has always, made me what I am. I had learned about the issue with waste management and people littering across the world. There was a thing called Sant Gadge Baba Gram Swachhata Abhiyan back in time when I was in class 9th.
Okay. I
Uh,
never heard about it, but
yeah.
yeah, go on.
So it was a flagship initiative by government of Maharashtra, and all villages were being cleaned.
Okay.
But I had moved to Pune for my bachelor studies, and going from a small town to a city, I realized that cleanliness is not something that you need in villages.
Yeah.
These cities are filled with litter. There's like a litter epidemic happening across the cities in the world.
True.
So the moment I saw those polluted rivers, people dumping waste in those rivers in the city Pune, I thought, okay, this is the problem I want to solve. This is something that I need to do something about.
And it's like you will never see a big gutters in a town or villages. You will see those big gutters in the city where the most of the educated people, most of the richest people living,
Yeah.
and there it's gutter, not in the village or where the education is not good. So do you see education is a problem for this thing?
I think it's just the way people in cities look at their resources. They are not sure where their resources are coming from. I've lived in the farms in my village and I know what's the value of water.
Exactly.
I know what's the value of having, healthy food to eat and a clean air to breathe. If people do not know the value of all these things, I guess they won't be able to respect what they have. And in cities, people are so busy in their own routines. In this capitalistic world, it's just difficult for people to recognize that they are harming themselves by their actions.
True.
So,
And I believe, because I belong from a village, and my dad is very against that unhygienic food. Trust me, when I was until 18 or 17, he never let me eat any pizza, any fast food. I never had a burger or anything. And he was always been towards organic food. So, my background, my family is a farmer. And we are more into organic farming, this and that. So when I went to the city, when I came here, I was very shocked. It was new for me.
definitely, like that's the genuine reaction one would have, because see, you understand where it comes
Yes.
from. So having the privilege of getting fresh food that you have grown in your own farms, that's where what the world wants right now. People are moving towards organic farming. People are looking for sustainable green and organic food everywhere. But we have had it from a long time, and that's where I come from. That's all about my upbringing as well. We've always had homemade food.
True.
And now when I have to eat packed food, I realize what we have done to ourselves in this world.
Exactly, man. Yeah. I feel sorry for ourselves as well. Like we want to have a good life, we want to have good dreams, all this thing. And for that we are giving up on the things what we were having.
Yeah,
That time we were feeling like, oh no, what is this thing, that and that, we were criticizing. But now I feel like when we had it, we didn't respect it. So I think
exactly.
we should respect what we have at the moment.
Yeah, and coming back to the topic, when we move to the city, we go there with a lot of aspirations and hope to change our lifestyle. Mostly people want to go to cities because they want to enjoy the city life, but that's the point where we tend to forget that what we had back home in our own villages was the actual privilege and like a rich lifestyle.
True. I
So
believe that's more richer than the city lifestyle.
exactly.
So Vivek, moving on to other thing, what was the most weirdest thing you picked it while doing plogging, and how did you feel like wearing a gloves and holding a trash bag in your hand?
Weirdest and shocking thing, if you ask me, it has to be a lot of Lord Ganesha idols in the river.
Oh wow.
Uh, I was surprised that people end up immersing Lord Ganesha idols in the river
Yeah.
for Visarjan during festivities, but they were really surrounded by a lot of filth in the riverside. So the first piece that I've ever picked was a discarded T-shirt in the river which had decomposed, and it was on the Lord Ganesha idol, and that made me feel bad.
That's disrespectful. Like
Yeah,
at home you're praying every day and
That's disrespectful towards your faith and religion, but at the same time, you're polluting the river to an extent that it has decomposed in the river water. So you imagine the water quality there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made me realize I have to clean this up, and I kept on doing it. And that's the first day when we picked up one full truck of trash.
Wow.
And yeah, it was massive and a shocking and a surprising day.
She must be shocked with that, like, why these people are doing like this, you know? Where somewhere you're talking about, oh, we need trees, we need fresh air, and
Yeah, it's disappointing because you look at such things and you realize people don't think twice before doing such things. Uh, it it gives you an idea of how the city treats its rivers, its surroundings and environment, and that's disappointing, to be honest.
was there any moment when you thought like, this is bigger than just picking up a litter?
Yeah, there has been a moment where I felt that, and it keeps on happening again and again because this is not just about picking up litter. When you're picking up litter, you meet a lot of people, and a community comes together to
Yeah.
do this. And I've seen that people wanted something like this to happen, and those people who are a part of my community, whenever they speak about this issue, they speak with a lot of passion, equal to what I have always felt about this cause. So when we are doing this, it's about the entire community coming
Yeah.
together, speaking about this, and that's where this whole conversation starts. And it's not only about the piece of litter that we have picked up, but it goes on to sustainability as a whole.
Okay.
We are trying to save the planet, man, and if we have to do that, we need people to talk about it.
True.
So it begins with a piece of litter, and it reaches to different levels where people can be a part of this larger movement with whatever they want to do,
Yeah.
and they bring their own cause to this movement, so it grows.
You know, Vivek, changing mindset of the people is harder than picking up a trash. So what's your strategy to, change the people mindset and their thoughts to care about their surroundings?
To be honest, I didn't set all to this vlogging journey to change people's mindset, because I've realized that all over all these years I've learned it's not about mindset.
Okay.
It's a myth.
Yeah.
Mindset is not a problem here. People really want to take care of their environment and surroundings and save this planet. People have good intentions, to be honest, but this is a muscle memory. Littering is a muscle memory. Whatever whatever you have in your hands, if you want to discard it, the first thing that your body tends to do is throw it away. And we have done this from our childhood.
Yeah.
So my strategy in this whole process is to do a reverse action of this.
Okay.
The reason I invite people to join me, and that's the reason I also want more and more people to come and pick up rubbish, is you need to break this habit of
Yeah.
throwing trash, the muscle memory that we have developed over all these years.
Yeah.
तो उसके लिए आपको जाके कचरा उठाना पड़ेगा. So unless and until you do that, you're not going to break this habit of people. And I always say, एक बार आओ, you'll keep on coming into a plogging drive because करके देखो अच्छा लगेगा. The kind of instant gratification that you get when you pick up rubbish, uh, it's it's something that gives you a lot of happiness, and that's what I've seen. I've seen a retention of volunteers over all these years. जो 10 साल पहले मेरे साथ कचरा उठाने आए थे, वो अभी भी कचरा उठाने आते हैं.
Wow.
तो अगर उनको ये पसंद आया, why do they love this? Because the kind of satisfaction that you
Exactly. And you feel proud, I think.
definitely, you feel proud, you feel really great about doing something for the society.
Yeah.
And in this world where there's so much happening, you want some form of self-appreciation, and this is that one action that can bring it to you. So yes, muscle memory that needs to be broken by a reverse action. तो सबसे कचरा उठाना is my mission. अगर कोई बोलता है कि I don't want to do this, I'll force them into picking up something eventually, and I'll make them do that because once they pick it up, they'll never go back to being what they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And I believe like one day, people will start accepting this, people will start respecting the environment. And I would say someday people will start, joining this movement.
Yeah.
1 million kg of trash. That's massive. But what's been the toughest moment so far?
I guess this whole journey has been really tough because focusing on this cause in itself means that I have to give up on a lot of other things in life.
Yeah.
Definitely my friends have been very flexible enough to involve me in their plans and be with me whenever I've needed them.
Oh,
There are a lot of things I have had to give up, and most of the times it also feels like you're carrying this burden of this entire world on your shoulders, because you see the problem and it gives you a lot of anxiety. For people like me who are change makers, who are trying to do something in this world, it's quite concerning for them, because when they see the problem, they're experiencing it firsthand, and you enter a pile of trash, you're going to pick it up, you feel so bad about it. So it's been stressful, but that's the magic of this cause, that the more and more you do it, the whole universe starts supporting you in different magical ways.
That's right.
And you start feeling better about it, and eventually it reaches a point where it becomes an important integral part of your life. For me, litter picking is something that's just a part of my living lifestyle right now.
Oh, wow.
So something that was a challenge today has become an opportunity and a privilege, and I love doing it. So it gives me a lot of sense of happiness and satisfaction. So
Vivek, मुझे ना आपकी एक बात अच्छी लगी. Like, that's the toughest moment. Sacrificing social life in today's time.
Yeah.
A बहुत tough time. Tough moment है किसी. But still you're giving a priority to the thing. That's really impressive.
like सोशलाइजिंग किसको अच्छा नहीं लगता.
Exactly.
या लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स ऐसे होता है कि सुबह 6-7 बजे हमारे प्लॉगिंग ड्राइव्स हम ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं.
Okay.
तो उसके पहले अगर फ्राइडे नाइट में पार्टी में जाना है, फ्रेंड्स को मिलने जाना है, ऑफिस की आउटिंग्स हैं, तो मोस्टली वी हैड टू फिनिश अर्ली और स्किप देम. तो ऐसे बहुत सारे मोमेंट्स हैं दैट आई हैव हैड टू स्किप, बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स कल सुबह जल्दी निकलना है,
Yeah.
प्लानिंग करनी है, ऑर्गेनाइज करना है. बट डेफिनेटली आई गेस एक सैक्रिफाइस के बाद आपको जो खुशी मिलती है ये सब करने के बाद, दैट्स समथिंग दैट आई वुड डेफिनेटली गो फॉर. एंड इन दिस जर्नी आई मेड फ्रेंड्स. नाउ वी आर अ बिग community.
And networkings and
So definitely we socialize in our own ways.
okay.
We do everything that one's supposed to do in
Yeah.
in life. So
same kind of interest people.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And इसी से आई गेस मुझे लगता है कि दिस वन लेसन दैट आई हैव learned so far is the world needs us. The world needs all of us to do something from our own end.
Yeah.
और आप खुद के लिए अगर ये चीज़ कुछ चीज़ों को सैक्रिफाइस नहीं करोगे, तो who is going to do better for the whole world around us? There are so many problems. If we think that okay, I want to enjoy my life, I can't sacrifice anything, I want to be in my comfort zones,
Yeah.
who is going to solve those problems for us?
So, Vivek, what's the biggest myth people believe, towards the environmental cleaning?
Specifically about cleaning, if you ask me, there's a myth and a practice that we have seen everywhere in the world, and it's about picking up everything that you see and putting it in the same bag.
Okay.
If you're thinking you're cleaning the world, or if you're cleaning your house that way, you're not doing anyone a favor, because kachra jab aap mix kar rahe ho, that means it's going to go to the landfill.
Oh, yeah.
So cleaning doesn't mean just tidying a place and making it look beautiful. That's not saving the world or saving the environment.
Yeah.
आप अगर करना चाहते हो तो पिकअप ट्रैश, सेग्रीगेट इट. अगर आप प्लास्टिक उठा रहे हो, कपड़े उठा रहे हो, दिस डिकम्पोजेबल वेस्ट, दिस वेट वेस्ट, you're not supposed to mix it up. And that's the reason I guess a lot of cleanups are just cleanups for the sake of it. And if you really want to do something, just segregate that waste or focus on one sort of waste.
Yeah.
Maybe just recyclables, pick them up, throw them in recycling bin, and they will be at least recycled. Cleaning and beautifying a place doesn't mean you're doing something for the environment.
Exactly. And काफी सारे जो families हैं, मतलब घर है, what they will do is like they will put food waste on the side, plastic on the side. But when you goes to the bin station,
Yeah,
they throw everything in one bin. Oh, let's go. I want to go in the rush.
that's the habit that we have कि मेरे घर में साफ दिखना चाहिए, but I'll just pile it up all in something and just throw it and like get done with it. तो मेरा काम हो गया, आगे का कोई और देख लेगा. So ये जो एटीट्यूड है, उससे क्या हो रहा है, आप ही के लिए वो बड़ा प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहे हैं इन द फ्यूचर. अब इंडिया में फेस्टिवल्स होते हैं, उसके पहले बहुत सारा क्लीनिंग होता है सबके घर में, डिक्लटरिंग होती है बेसिकली. तो I've seen people do that in the hostels, wherever I've lived so far. सब कुछ ले लेंगे, एक ही बैग में डाल के, बैग बांध के, wow, I've done a great job.
Exactly.
मेरा घर साफ हो गया.
True. But okay.
I'm always shocked to see कि वो कचरा सेग्रीगेट कौन करेगा, ऐसे ही डस्टबिन में चला जाएगा, that's going to landfill.
True. And I can see I would say there's thousands of pictures on social media that like those waste mines are getting bigger.
Yeah.
They're throwing in the ocean, they're throwing in the rivers and everywhere, and then it goes like plastic bottles and those things. They don't even decompose for years and years.
Yeah. So there have been moments in my litter picking journey where I've picked up pieces of trash which date back to 2002, 2003. These are the plastic wrappers that have been there in the environment from since then. A plastic bottle thrown in the open does not decompose because it's plastic. It's not biodegradable. And for it to break down into microplastics, it would take thousands of years.
Yeah.
So what happens is you'll find an intact plastic bottle which is very old, and that's the reason we need to be very mindful about how we are disposing all of these things. Um, and when we talk about landfills, any city in the world you enter, you'll always find this like piles of trash, on the outskirts of the city, because that's basically people discarding their waste, which is illegal.
Yeah.
In the UK, we call it fly tipping, which is a big offense.
Yeah, and I think it's illegal as well in this country. You need to pay if they fine you and all those things.
Yes, definitely, and that's how it should be. स्पेसिफिकली अगर आप इंडिया में देखोगे बड़े बड़े सिटीज में, तो वहाँ पे माउंटेन्स ऑफ ट्रैश दिखती है, एंड दोज माउंटेन्स ऑफ ट्रैश बेसिकली मीन्स कि पूरा सिटी रिसाइकलिंग में इन्वॉल्व नहीं
है,
सब कुछ मिक्स करके फेंका जा रहा है, एंड इतना कंजम्पशन है सिटीज में विद द पॉपुलेशन दैट वी हैव, पीपल आर जस्ट यूजिंग थिंग्स एंड थ्रोइंग देम ऑफ, एंड दैट्स द रीजन कभी कभी लगता है कि पीपल शुड स्लो डाउन, and that means slow life,
Yes.
slow consumption of things, and reuse, which is not like
billions of kg, or you can say billions of products which is being produced every day in a plastic form, like water bottles, these, that, and we all know that it's gonna take ages to get decomposed, but still we're using it. So why we don't move toward the recycling things? Why we don't take that is, instead of asking you, blaming government or blaming someone else, why we don't take that, oh, that's my duty. That's why I don't give 1% of thing or time towards the environment.
yeah, there's so much that can be done at your personal level. One person can actually change the world in innumerable ways. um, पूरे दिन का अगर आप रूटीन देखोगे, सुबह से शाम तक आप जो भी चीजें करते हो उसमें प्लास्टिक इन्वॉल्व है। सुबह का टूथब्रश प्लास्टिक से धरा हुआ है, टूथपेस्ट के अंदर प्लास्टिक से, टूथपेस्ट का कंटेनर प्लास्टिक का है, वहां से लेके आप शाम दिन भर जो भी चीजें करते हो, बाहर खाते हो, आपके प्लास्टिक के कंटेनर है और आपकी बोतल प्लास्टिक की है, तो यू आर लिविंग अ लाइफ फुल ऑफ प्लास्टिक, एंड what we don't realize is that plastic is harming us in like so many ways.
Exactly.
Recently, I read this research done by a scientist from University of Mexico, which says microplastics have entered human brain tissues. So, अगर human brain में plastic पहुंच गया है, we have already learned that it's in human placenta, it's in human kidneys and liver, and all these shocking reports just point towards one thing, that we are destroying ourselves,
Yeah.
and we're not sure why we are doing
Doing it, why we're not taking serious to this thing.
Yeah, we need to be really concerned about this, but at the same time, उसके alternatives है। ऐसा नहीं है कि प्लास्टिक के alternatives we don't have. We have so many good biodegradable, eco-friendly alternatives to plastic. एक bamboo toothbrush use करने में किसका क्या जाता है? It's a very good alternative, right? So simple things, simple replacements, if you do, and gradually change your lifestyle, it's going to help everyone.
I'm totally agree with that. Moving on to other Vivek, there's thousands of protests, climate strike, global summit, this and that. You think people really care about the environment, or they just think like, oh, that's just government job, they're gonna clean it for us, they're gonna keep everything organized?
एक चीज रियलाइज नहीं होती लोगों को कि क्लाइमेट चेंज एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है।
नहीं।
क्लाइमेट चेंज happens because of carbon emissions, right?
Yeah.
So majority of the carbon emissions that we see are coming from big industries, corporates and companies, and those major corporations, they need to be held accountable. तो उनकी जिम्मेदारी है कि वो अपनी जो भी carbon emissions है उसको कंट्रोल में रखें, and are they trying to do that is a bigger question.
Yeah.
But that's what I've seen. People are trying to ask the government कि ये companies को आप accountable रखो, let the companies pay for what they are doing, or at least stop their sources of emission. So basically उनको अपना business reevaluate करना पड़ेगा, and they have to change their strategies. And that's a trend in the Western countries. Basically in the UK, all these climate protests that happen, they are all pointing towards the responsibility of corporates in the whole problem of climate change.
Or
But at the same time, this creates a tendency of pointing fingers and not doing something on your own.
oh no, right.
मैंने देखा है कि बहुत सारे क्लाइमेट समिट्स होते हैं, मैं जाके आया हूँ, and one realization that I've had is end of the day when you're trying to scream about this issue, no one is listening to you because they think you are just young people. You don't know what
It's like you're talking to
what you're talking.
Yeah.
So if they're not acting on the things that we are demanding, it makes us feel negative about this whole process. What's our,
Yeah.
do we even really feel important in this whole process? Do we think we are given the mic to talk about our issues? तो इसके लिए एक चीज जरूरी है कि वो आपके जहन में होना चाहिए. You should understand that climate optimism is a thing. The more and more you talk about it, the people around you are going to listen. Governments will listen if you have the conviction to speak your concerns in a way that they will listen. मुझे याद है लास्ट ईयर मैं कॉप समिट नहीं गया था क्योंकि आई वाज टोटली anxious about this whole problem of climate change.
Okay.
But मुझे realize हुआ कि जो काम मैं कर रहा हूँ, that's in itself a bigger movement. लोगों को अगर कचरा करने से मैं रोक रहा हूँ या फिर जो कचरा मैं उठा रहा हूँ वो रिसाइकल हो रहा है, that's a bigger contribution to this climate change movement. So I don't need to feel bad that I'm not able to save this world at this moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I made it clear in the media that world leaders need to listen to the youngsters because we are the future.
Exactly.
And we know what we are saying because we are saying things that have been backed by science
Yeah.
and research. तो climate change को deny करना छोड़िए and give us some hope and optimism. Show that you listen to us. और ऐसे summits में बहुत सारी promises होती है, commitments होती है. And eventually we have seen countries pull out of these commitments or they are not staying true to these commitments. So I got a letter from the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, saying I acknowledge that world leaders need to do something about this. And yes, he also believes in climate optimism
Oh wow.
and the kind of movement we are trying to build where people are a part of this whole process. एक चीज होती है जिसको मैं खुद बोलता हूँ कि it's a inaction triangulation where there are people, then there's policymakers, that's government, and then there's profit making entities which are corporates.
Yeah.
So ये तीनों entities जब एक दूसरे के ऊपर fingers point करके बोलेंगे कि ये उनका responsibility है, ये उनका responsibility है, तो काम कौन करेगा?
Exactly.
So we need to break this cycle.
Yeah, and I feel like not just government, not because I think everyone need to take a responsibility. You, me, like my family member, everyone need to take a responsibility of cleaning.
And we are the people a part of this government because we elect the government. We are the people part of a company who run the company,
Yeah.
who are working for a company. So we know, right? We all get to make a decision someday if this is right or wrong.
True.
तो वो राइट और रॉन्ग चूज करने के लिए लोगों को पहले पता ही होना चाहिए कि क्या प्रॉब्लम है दुनिया में. एंड आई गेस दैट्स द रीजन. आई गेस ऐसी छोटी छोटी जो मूवमेंट होती है जहाँ पे हम कचरा उठाते हैं, कोई ट्री प्लांटेशन करता है, कोई अपने वेज में छोटी छोटी चीजें अपने लाइफ में कर रहा है. जैसे नल जो खुला है जहाँ से पानी वेस्ट हो रहा है वो बंद करे, लाइट्स ऑफ करे. These are simpler actions, but these simpler actions have big ripple effects in the world.
And even those cigarette butts,
Yeah.
वो decompose नहीं होता है.
Right.
And they just throw on the.
Yeah, one cigarette butt, if it's littered and if it mixes with clean water, it can end up polluting around 500 liters of clean water. So एक cigarette butt में उतनी capacity है क्योंकि उसमें toxins होते हैं, plastic filters होते हैं. Imagine there are millions of cigarette butts right here out on the streets.
I think in the Portugal they have something that you can't throw cigarette butts, and someone they put a kind of a movement, or you could say the strike protest. They took all those cigarette butts and throw there, and they did a big drama. Like, I wouldn't say drama, but they were protesting about it.
Yeah.
To make people aware about it. Like what's going on with one cigarette butt, what can happen. Okay, I think that was really nice, and I think everyone need to take a responsibility for them.
Yeah. I remember one initiative we had done in Pune, which is called as a chalk of shame.
Okay.
तो जहाँ पे भी हमें सिगरेट बट दिखता है रास्ते पे, we take a chalk,
Okay.
we draw a circle around it. We never pick up a cigarette butt, but we keep it there. We draw a circle around it and write slogans nearby. And it became a very trending initiative in Pune.
Okay.
So Pune Ploggers was the one who ran this initiative back in Pune. Chalk of shame से हमें ये पता चला कि लोग सिगरेट butts जहाँ देखे वहाँ फेंक देते हैं. And once you start drawing circles, you'll see thousands of circles in a 1 mile span.
Wow.
And imagine the number of cigarette butts that are being thrown every single day.
Exactly.
तो उससे एक अवेयरनेस भी रेज हुई एंड उसी के थ्रू हमने गवर्नमेंट का अटेंशन की उसके ऊपर ड्रॉ किया. तो ये इसको हम चॉकटिविज्म बोलते हैं, जो चौक से एक्टिविज्म होता है.
Oh wow.
We are not shouting, we are not screaming, we just went there, we drew a circle, wrote a slogan.
Fully.
Yeah.
You just keep making people aware about
Using creativity to raise awareness was something that we did through Shame.
Let's talk about harsh reality. People point these South Asian countries, they put fingers and they just call them like, oh, this is a dirty country. They have the most like slum areas and all this thing. But you've been living in London. I've been living in London from long. In the nights when we walk on the streets, we see people peeing on this wall. They're making it dirty. They're throwing a trash in the park. Like, London is a beautiful, beautiful city. We have been seeing in Birmingham how the things are going. So, like the England is very like rich country. People are well educated, but still they are doing the same thing. So, whom should we criticize? Those people like in the South Asian countries or this?
First thing that I have learned after coming here and spending like 3 years in this country in the UK, एक चीज जो बचपन से हमें बताई गई है कि European countries are very clean.
Exactly, yeah.
And their waste management practices are amazing. Of course, there's a lot of good infrastructure and a lot of facilities in place. But यहाँ के लोग उतना ही कचरा करते हैं जितना लोग पूरी दुनिया में करते हैं. तो किसी एक कंट्री की तरफ उंगली करके बोलना कि स्पेसिफिकली साउथ एशियन कंट्रीज कि दिस लॉट ऑफ लिटर देयर is not fair. It's a form of injustice that we've always seen.
Yeah.
And of course, we have felt the burden of the Western countries and their acts, which has led to the whole problem of climate change.
Yeah.
The historic emissions, if we talk about, have come from the developed world. So we are not the one to blame for causing the whole, issue.
Yeah.
But definitely now that we look at this whole picture, I realize Indians try to do their own things.
Yeah.
People in the UK try to do their own things, but there are people everywhere in the world who are careless.
Yeah.
तो ये किसी देश के किसी स्पेसिफिक कंट्री के लोग नहीं हैं जो कचरा करते हैं. दुनिया में सब जगह पे केयरलेस लोग होते हैं जो कचरा फेंकते रहते हैं. लंदन, I have seen there's so much trash everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's only because people have single-use culture here. So there's a takeaway culture where you want to go and eat something. You don't go and eat and sit and eat in that restaurant. You just pick up some takeaways and you just walk and eat. Once you're done, what will you do with that container?
Exactly.
And it's a single-use container, so you just try to dispose it off. So people just tend to throw it everywhere. What I've seen here is that the country is rich, so the trash is also apparently rich. So अमीर देशों का कचरा अमीरों जैसे हो जाए.
Another, but I would say like we can't blame government. We can't blame education system, because if education was a problem, yeah, like if you would say like, okay, South Asian people are less educated, and what about this England? What about other countries? Well, if you would say government, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, he started Swachh Bharat Abhiyan.
Yeah.
I would say that was a beautiful moment. He tried as a prime minister. He can guide people, but now it's yours, it's my decision, it's people's decision how they want to keep it. So don't you think it's instead of blaming government, we should take responsibility by ourselves?
Definitely. If you see any new policy that's placed into the public domain, for example, a policy that states that people can enjoy benefits from the government.
Yeah.
The government is ready to pay you for some of your things that are happening in your life. People are ready to take those benefits. Why don't people say, okay, it's government's money, let the government keep it, with the
They don't know that the government is getting money from their own taxes.
Exactly.
The tax is gonna get up.
Every policy or every new initiative started by a government is only for the people, because we are pillars of the democracy. People are, if people don't participate in the democracy, it's not going to be a successful democracy, and that would lead to chaos. That's what is happening in terms of waste management and litter.
Yeah.
People think it's a government's responsibility. we have paid enough taxes, so that's the only role that we want to play in this world. तो मैंने मेरे टैक्सेस पे करे हैं तो गवर्नमेंट ने कचरा उठाना चालू किया. पीपल डोंट रियलाइज कि वो टैक्सेस किसी और अच्छे काम में यूज किए जा सकते हैं.
डेवलपमेंट
बट नो, गवर्नमेंट्स नीड टू एम्प्लॉय पीपल टू पिक अप योर ट्रैश. अगर आप इतने पढ़े लिखे हो, if you are so educated and if you still think this, then that education is problem. And overall I see, yes, people across the world, from any country, if they are educated, they have the awareness of the problem, but it's not about being educated or being
they don't take responsibility.
yeah. It's about civic sense, and it's about your self respect. If you really care about yourself, and if you really want to be in a better environment, आप अपना घर साफ रखते हो, तो why not keep your surroundings and neighborhood clean?
Like I would say, will you throw your money on the streets? Will you throw your money on the street? No.
Exactly.
Then why are you throwing that, the wrappers? Why are you throwing the things which is you think like this is not like important?
Yeah. And every single thing that we buy, it's our money.
Money. As we spend it on the
And exactly, and when you even buy a water bottle, you're not paying for that water, you're paying for the plastic bottle that you're buying. So basically you're wasting your own hard-earned savings and money onto things, and you end up throwing them, discarding them in irresponsible ways. It's your money all going to the drain.
Yeah.
But डेफिनेटली इतने सालों में एक बात पता चली है कि ये किसी देश के वजह से, उनके एजुकेशन की वजह से, या फिर उनके कल्चरल थिंग्स की वजह से नहीं है. ये लोग, वो लोग हैं जो कुछ चीज़ों के बारे में नहीं सोचते हैं. दे आर केयरलेस, एंड दे विल बी फाउंड एवरीवेयर.
Every corner of the earth you will find this kind of people.
So Yogesh, I have a question for you. Do you know which is the most polluted country in the world?
I'm like, I don't know.
Even I didn't know that answer, but when I looked it up, there's a country called Chad. It is in North Central Africa. Definitely, like it's the same case with me. So it happens to be the most polluted country in the world, but that shouldn't be a question. This whole problem needs to be looked at through a different lens. So I always love to talk about per capita waste generation.
Okay.
And it's the highest in the US. So what is per capita waste generation? It's the amount of waste generated by a citizen, one single citizen, in a single day.
Okay.
So that's basically, that points out at the habits of people of a specific country.
Yeah.
If you look at annual numbers, the per capita waste generated by one person is 800 kgs in US, which is really, really high.
That's a big number, though.
And that points at the amount of waste capitalism that we have in these Western countries. And all these Western countries rank higher in terms of per capita waste generation.
Yeah.
And it's same in terms of per capita emissions as well. So these people are really, really causing bigger problems through their single-use lifestyle.
Right.
Second thing to notice, when these developing countries have to accept the waste that is dumped by these countries. So basically US, UK, these countries export their plastic waste to developing countries. It was until 2020-21, India was also accepting this waste.
Oh, wow.
And it's still being done through multiple different channels. It's countries like Indonesia, Philippines, where all this waste is sent for further processing. So basically, definitely these Western countries have this tendency of discarding everything. And that means also discarding their waste beyond borders. So as much as these people keep their countries clean through huge investment into cleaning infrastructure, other countries which are developing and underdeveloped are facing the burden of all these countries.
But you know what? I know which is the cleanest country in the world.
Of course, a lot of people talk about cleanliness.
Switzerland, because and I got to know what is it. You know that movie Dil Wale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge?
Yeah.
So once I was doing it and somehow it came on the Google, the Switzerland hold the title of the most cleanest country in the world. That's really cool though.
Do you understand why these countries are clean?
Not really.
It's not about the mindset of people, or it's not about the habits of people in their countries. These countries have deposit return schemes placed in their countries. So any bin which is a part of their deposit return scheme,
Okay.
it gives some tokens or money in return. So basically you have a piece of plastic, you go it and put it into a vending machine sort of thing. and they get a voucher or a coupon or some points out of it. So the deposit return scheme is making really
Yes,
good
and they
progress.
have big fines as well. Like I was reading once, and I like if you throw the trash on the street or something, you get big numbers, like big amount of fine.
Yeah.
Which I think every country should start doing it, and that's good.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing that definitely adds up to the way people will follow their rules. The way we monitor traffic in India, if you're breaking signals, you get fined because it's all monitored through cameras now. So it's advanced. Eventually, I guess our waste management systems will also reach the level where we will monitor people littering
Yeah.
and capture them in cameras and find them. So one really good thing that can be done, of course. Um, but definitely the waste segregation practices in these countries. If you think, in the UK, we see so many bins that are given to us by the local council.
Yeah.
So we get to segregate recyclables, the general rubbish, food waste, paper, cardboard, textile waste,
Yeah.
and all these things are picked up on different days of the week. So that gives us an opportunity to actually segregate our waste. So this kind of infrastructure is easy when the population is so less in these countries. And India is definitely doing really great things in terms of waste management. Now people segregate wet waste and dry waste, which is very fundamental to inculcating this habit. You cannot change people overnight.
Yeah.
So with Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the way we have been segregating our waste into dry and wet categories,
Yeah.
over past 10 years at least, people have learned that they need to segregate dry and wet waste.
That's it. Like India is going to
These
drive
tiny
others.
steps, these are the tiny steps towards what we see in these Western countries where there are so many bins and everything is being segregated.
Yeah.
Uh,
So Vivek, let's talk about your achievements.
Yeah.
You've been doing a great job, but tell me, how did you feel like when you've been recognized by the Prime Minister of UK?
So I always feel pumped when such questions are asked because, of course, I get to brag about the invitation I had from the Prime Minister. But yeah, it's a humbling moment, to be honest. Uh, Someone who picks up litter, basically someone who is picking up a filthy thing in the environment, is getting recognized by the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
In itself brings about the kind of importance this work has in these countries. And it's same across the world. When someone who picks up litter is recognized, people tend to feel better
And
about
they
the
get
cause.
motivated, and I feel like what the Prime Minister, they awarded you and all those things. I think that motivated you as well. Plus, this kind of small steps
Yeah.
by these big leaders, and when they like appreciate your efforts, I feel that will motivate thousands of more people to do that thing.
That's true. I guess after the Prime Minister's award, I guess a lot of people joined the community.
Oh wow.
The way we were able to scale up the community, it was really impressive. And with such recognitions, it also gives us the credibility that we need when we are working in the society. People need to listen to us because we are trying to raise awareness about certain important causes, and such recognitions help us to get that credibility and backing when we are saying
Yeah.
something. Um, and it convinced my parents. So
Okay, so there you go.
know,
So at least
yeah.
that was a nice thing. So at least your parents got happy and they were like, okay,
The
now
one
they
time that I've seen my father really happy and proud about this whole work is when he realized that.
okay, he's doing something great. Yeah, my son is going on the right way.
I mean, yeah, of course, the prime minister is supporting it. Why
aren't
I,
Start
showing
showing
him
it.
the opposition to do something like this, and that's where I guess my father had really felt good about
That's
this.
really nice that at least from that your father is happy to do it. That's nice. So Vivek, after 1 million kg of trash, what's your next target, or I would say what's your next goal?
I guess my job is not done yet. Even if we have picked up 1 billion kgs of trash so far, uh, there's billions of tons of trash still out there, which is like on the streets. So of course the mission still stays the same, but the way we have been working has changed a lot over the last 10 years. And it keeps on changing every single year when we meet different communities across the world. Now that I'm in the UK, I've been experimenting and trying a lot of other things. And right now I'm on a 50 city plogging tour.
Oh wow.
And this is my way of raising awareness and bringing more communities into this whole campaign.
Yeah.
So right now my target is to finish this journey of 50 cities. It had to be in the UK, but now it will be throughout Europe. So I'll be covering 50 cities in the Europe. And the reason I'm doing this is because I get to learn a lot when I visit different cities.
Yeah.
Last weekend, I was in Cardiff in the UK. I joined a world record event where around 1,300 people cleaned up a riverside.
Wow.
So they broke a record.
So
that
you're
was-
part of a world record now. Okay.
in fact, and that also makes me realize the work that is being done in India is at a substantial scale as compared to what the people do here. The biggest event that I have done in terms of plogging is 150,000 people picking up rubbish at the same time. So we never had a world record event as such, but we have broken thousands of such records, I guess, with all the work that we have been doing. But this is not where we can stop. We need to reach out to all those single individuals in the world who have not picked up trash so far. We want to come and tell them to do something with us so that they become a part of this longer journey. तो हर एक इंसान तक पहुंचेंगे जिसने कचरा नहीं उठाया है और सबसे कचरा उठाएंगे
पर डोर डोर घर घर तक आपको ये मैसेज
पहुंचाना.
विवेक, आई हैव वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन फॉर यू टुडे. अगर आपको भी अनिल कपूर के जैसे एक दिन का प्राइम मिनिस्टर बना दिया जाए, या फिर इफ यू गेट अ चांस, आपको एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दे दी जाए टू मेक अ गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी और समथिंग, टू help the climate, to change something in environment, what will you do?
I guess there are a lot of people like me across the world who are young, trying to change this world for better, but they don't get a seat at the table.
Yeah.
I come from a small town. I didn't have these opportunities growing up, and I always felt, why am I not getting the voice,
Yeah.
the amount of opportunities to speak up, and it's difficult to reach such spaces. So if I get the power, I'll definitely give a chance for all the people like me to be a part of this conversation and give them a seat at the table, because policymakers and decision makers need to be people like us who actually want to save the world, and not someone who is doing it as as a part of their job or for the sake of it. So
Okay.
if I have this power, I'll also give the same power to everyone who wants to change the world.
That's interesting. So where do you see this movement in next 5 years?
I guess this movement is really growing into something that I had not imagined 10 years back. So, right now, if you ask me, I would just say that I'll let the movement build upon itself, because I don't have a vision for where this is heading.
Yeah.
All I want to do is make this world a better place. And for this, if I have to involve more communities and citizens to be a part of this whole campaign, that's happening already. We are trying to bring a lot of youngsters, youth from across the world, to be honest, to be a part of this. But definitely, we want to be a global voice in litter picking, and that is something that I wish to do. So this journey of picking up this journey of picking up rubbish in different cities in the world is a way of me reaching out to the policymakers at these different places. I was in India for most of my life, and I've worked with governments in India. I came to the UK. I did not know if I would get an opportunity to do it here. But today we work with the government here as well. Being a part of the Prime Minister's awardees and getting an invitation to talk about this at his residence and office, it in itself is a bigger opportunity to raise the voice.
Achievement as well.
And the same will happen when I travel the world. Wherever I go, people are going to talk about this and notice the fact that an Indian.
Because you're doing a good job.
Yeah, and moreover, it's also an Indian picking up rubbish
Where
in the world.
where the people are more judgmental.
Yeah, people always say this, why don't you go back to India, pick up rubbish there because your country needs it more, is a point of a real discussion for me. That's where the conversation starts.
Okay.
The problem doesn't lie where I come from. The problem lies in the mindset of people here who think India is a problem. So me picking up rubbish is also challenging the status quo of these countries, where they realize or think that it's the problem of the global south, of the developing country, of countries like India. But no, me doing it here also is an eye opener that these countries are as much filthy as India is.
Exactly. And I'm agree with that.
This is a strong evidence. If I find 10 bags full of rubbish in one go, that means these countries also need some attention.
Obviously, they need this, because I think these countries are really beautiful. The design, architecture, everything is beautiful. But I think people need to see the other side as well.
Exactly. And that's the mission, to break the misunderstanding across the world that there's a certain image of India, to be
You
honest.
just don't want to clean one place. You want to clean the whole earth.
I want to clean the entire planet, and that's where it has to be. Yeah.
So, Vivek, the viewers who are watching, if they want to get into this or if they want to start this thing, what's the steps which they can do?
I guess litter picking, if that's something they wish to do, it's very simple. You don't need to learn rocket science behind something like litter picking, because
Yeah.
it's an easy idea, and that's what I have always been saying to everyone who wants to join. All you need is a lot of patience, a lot of will and decision making to go out there and pick up someone else's rubbish. So you should that attitude.
And first, you just need to accept it.
Accept
the fact, okay, I'm not gonna, get demotivated from the people. Just
because you will fail a lot of times. You'll feel demotivated. You'll feel frustrated because I just cleaned this space and someone has littered this place again.
it's like
So-
not giving up.
Yeah, you need to have that not giving up attitude, and all you need is a pair of gloves,
Trash
bin
bag.
bag.
There you go.
There you go. It's easy.
India versus UK. What shocked you more and why?
UK shocks me the most because UK has a drinking problem. So after all those club night parties, people just throw their cans and bottles and glasses everywhere. Smoking problem, disposable vapes, cigarette butts. Every single step I take on the road, I see cigarette butts and vapes disposed, which are a big problem in this country. And more than that, it's every single form of plastic waste that I can see. Single use it, throw it, use it, throw it. So UK has a throw problem, use and throw problem.
So UK is dirtier than India, or I would say South Asian country.
Definitely, UK is dirtier. It's irresponsible more than dirty.
What's the most disgusting thing you picked while doing a plogging?
It's all the filth one can think of. Starting with condoms, a lot of condoms that we come across, people just tend to discard them in the open. But it's also sanitary pads, nappies, diapers with full of potty. Pet parents, please be aware your dog poop needs to be thrown and discarded in a responsible way. But even that's thrown on streets everywhere. And more than anything, it's just all the innerwear and undergarments, which is shocking. You don't want to pick up someone's undergarments in the trash.
Yeah.
I find a lot of those as well.
Oh, wow. Do people actually care about the climate change?
I don't think so. If this video can get million views, maybe we can say that people really care about climate change. Because when it comes to creating a controversy, people are very much into it. People want viral trends. Definitely, they are really careful about all those things. But climate change, a real problem hitting them, they won't even talk about it. There are a lot of people who tell me to come to their areas and pick up the rubbish. They tell me to do something to save their areas and like try to conserve trees and all of that. Why don't they do something about it?
Yeah.
It's easy to ask someone to do your job.
Exactly. Like you need to take the responsibility. You need to take your own actions and
Yeah.
help the climate to get better.
Do you know 1 million marine animals die every year due to plastic pollution? 1 million plastic bottles are sold every single minute, and only 1 in 5 gets recycled. UK alone spends more than 700 million pounds annually for its waste management, yet there's piling of trash everywhere in the country. The global cost of environmental damages from climate change could reach $5 trillion by 2050, which is shocking. 80% of waste in developing countries is handled by informal waste collectors and not governments. Each person in the UK produces 400 kg of waste per year, and that's 800 kgs of waste per year in the US, which is incredibly shocking because it's a growing issue in the developed countries as well. Over 300 million tons of plastic is produced annually, and 9 million tons of it ends up in the ocean. And that's causing the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is a huge patch amidst the North Pacific Ocean.
Vivek, these facts are really shocking. And I think, the viewers, the people who are watching it, they will be shocked as well. If you had just 10 seconds to send a message to the world, what would it be?
I tell people to look up their phones, shut down those displays because there's a beautiful world around them. And if they can't appreciate that, they're going to lose a lot in their life. They can only be a beacon of hope for the world if they look around themselves and try to be the kind, better humans they can be. And that's all we need today in this negative world.
I think that's a beautiful message you gave me, and I think like I even felt it, what you saying. So Vivek, you know what? I would, before we finish, what advice you have for the world or for the viewers?
Um, there's one thing that people need to accept, that the world is really moving towards a very negative direction.
Okay.
There's a lot of chaos around us. But if you think you can do something about this, you need to be a better human for everyone around you.
Yeah.
You need to be kind. And with that kindness, and it can be towards your own family, your friends, your surroundings, Mother Earth, the planet, pets, wherever you see pets, you feel happy. So you need to have that kindness and like uh, a good attitude towards everything, and that can fix this world. Else, the negativity and the aggression and the amount of rage that we have towards each other for certain issues,
Yes.
it's not going to take us anywhere. So if we want a peaceful, happy world, let's just keep smiling and spreading positive and happy messages.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you for joining the Yogii Show. Thank you for your time. And before we finish, if you watch a movie that called Padman,
Yeah.
and then they say, "Worry about Padman," also worry about Plogman.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Over 1 million kilogram of waste picked by one man. That's not just a number. That's a choice. That's 1 million steps, 1 million chances to change the world. If one person can do this with nothing, but just with the willpower and the bag, what's stopping us? What's stopping you? Why we can't do this? The world doesn't need any another hero. It needs a people who are willing to care. So, are you ready to take a first step? Let us know in the comment. And remember, it's not the planet who need to save. It's for us, we need to save ourselves. We need to save the climate, the environment. Otherwise, one day, we all gonna die. Subscribe to the Yogii Show if you felt for 1 second that this video was informative.